Let's move on to the fourth and final main topic today. And our fourth and final main topic today gets sent in to us from Shazne InQuiver, who writes, "Your prediction may be right, John. Rian Johnson seems way less confident about his upcoming Star Wars trilogy than ever before in his recent interview. I was personally not a fan of The Last Jedi, but I appreciate Rian Johnson as a filmmaker. What's your take on his comments?" All right. So before we get to Rian Johnson's comments, just to give a little bit of background information here, I have believed, strictly based on fan speculation, not on any insider information, just to be clear, I have believed for some time that we are not going to get Rian Johnson's trilogy. I've said that for a while. Now, by the way, I was the first person to tell you guys that the new Star Wars dates, that none of them were Rian Johnson's movies. I was the first person to report that. A lot of people doubted me, and then 2 days later, all the major trades reported it. Anyway, to me, it makes no sense for Rian Johnson to direct any more Star Wars films. They don't make sense from the studio's point of view, and they don't make sense for Rian Johnson's point of view. From the studio's point of view, first of all, why would you continue on with his movies when minimum you'd be waiting is about 7 years? That makes no sense to me. But on top of that, despite the fact that I like The Last Jedi and a lot of people like The Last Jedi, there's also a lot of people that don't, right? That's fair. There's also a lot of people that don't. And there's been a lot of controversy surrounding it, and it was a very divisive film. The Last Jedi was a very divisive film. From Disney's point of view, with all that's at stake, do you bring that back? Because, look, right or wrong, fair or unfair, one of the things that I've always stated, and it's absolutely true, is that if you do bring Rian Johnson back, you have to accept the fact that all the talk isn't going to be about excitement for the new movie. All the talk is going to be about Rian Johnson. Now, that may be fair or unfair. That may be, good or bad. Whatever your point of view is, it is, however, the fact. If he does come back to do a new trilogy, that's all the people are going to be talking about is Rian Johnson, Rian Johnson, Rian Johnson, Rian Johnson. A bunch of them screaming and yelling and whining about it. Bunch of people screaming and yelling, defending it. And you're just going to have a whole lot of talk and a whole lot of screaming and yelling back and forth people. And none of it's going to be about the movie and people being excited about the movie. From the Rian Johnson point of view, I've always made the argument that if you're Rian Johnson, why the holy hell would you want to come back and do another Star Wars movie? Why would you want to? By the way, it's looking like Rian Johnson's probably going to get an Academy Award nomination this year for several nominations, probably for this movie Knives Out. I haven't seen it yet myself, but everybody at the festivals who've seen it are raving about it. The critics who have seen it are raving about it. Last I checked, it had a 99%. And that movie is going to get some awards consideration. But again, if you are him, if you're Rian Johnson, why the hell would you want to come back and do another one? Why would you want to come back and just subject yourself to the abuse and the mistreatment that online fans have given him and all that kind of stuff? Why would you want to do that? And like I said before, it's all going to be about this. People screaming back and forth. That's all it's going to be. Do you really want to come back? Do you want to put your own movies on hold to come back to be in the middle of that shitstorm? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I have said for a while that I do not believe, I have no insider information saying that this is the case. I'm just saying I do not believe for a second that Rian Johnson is actually going to direct another Star Wars movie. He might write one. He might be a producer on one. He might be involved in some way, but I do not see Rian Johnson coming back either from the studio's perspective or from his own. Nonetheless, he has been saying the right things lately, right? He's been saying, oh yeah, I'm still connected, because they don't want that to be the news story. They want people focused on Star Wars Episode 9. They don't want people focusing on Rian Johnson's out. And why are you talking about Rian Johnson? We've got Star Wars Episode 9 coming. They're trying to keep all the attention there. Well, much like what happened in the Ben Affleck situation, and I'll get to that comparison in a second, Rian Johnson's tune is starting to change. From, oh yeah, I'm still working on it. Yeah, I'm still doing this Star Wars movie for sure. Just like Ben Affleck jumping up and down at Comic-Con. Oh, I love being Batman. I'm going to be Batman forever, guys. Yeah. When he had already let them know that he was done. But Rian Johnson's been out saying the right things. But now, just like Ben Affleck, where eventually Ben Affleck's words started to become like, well, we'll see. We'll see if I'm going to be Batman again. It's like, wait a minute. At Comic-Con a few months ago, you said, yeah, you'll crawl on all fours like an ape for Matt Reeves. You're so happy to be Batman. Now you're saying, let's see. Well, keep that in mind, because in a recent interview in the last couple of days, Rian Johnson was quoted about this. When asked about how things were going and if he's still going to be doing his Star Wars movies, Rian Johnson started showing cracks in the armor, and he said the following. Well, we'll see. What? So now we've gone from, oh yeah, I'm doing it, to, well, we'll see. Anyway, let's keep reading this. Well, we'll see. I'm still talking to Lucasfilm. They're figuring out what they're going to do, and we'll see what happens. But I'd be thrilled if it did happen. I'd be thrilled if it happens. And I'm working on my own stuff too. We've gone from the public statements of, yes, this is definitely happening. I'm still developing it. It's going to be the next thing I do, and all blah, blah, blah. We've gone from that now to, well, we'll see. I'd be thrilled if it happens. Now we're at if it happens. We're at we'll see and if it happens. So again, I think this just all points to what I've been saying for a while. I do not believe we're going to see Rian Johnson doing this. Now, we can get into the discussion about, is that a good or a bad thing? That Rian Johnson, let's assume for a minute, and by the way, let's be clear, this is not official. Rian Johnson is not, despite this looks like he's saying it, but he has not officially said he's not doing it. Nobody from Disney or Lucasfilm has said he's not doing it, so let's just keep that in mind, okay? That being said, for the sake of argument, let's assume he's not going to do another one for a minute, okay? Just for a minute, just indulge me here. Is that a good or a bad thing that he doesn't do another one? Well, on the one hand, I'd be disappointed a little bit because I liked his Last Jedi movie. Is it my favorite Star Wars movie? No. Did I have issues with the movie? Yes, that's well documented. But I still like the movie. I particularly love what he did with Luke. I know what he did with Luke was a sticking point for a lot of other people. I thought if you know anything about The Empire Strikes Back, you know that the Luke we got in The Last Jedi was completely consistent with the Luke Skywalker of the original Star Wars trilogy, but I digress. I like what he did with the movie, and I love Brick. I love Looper. I cannot wait for Knives Out. This thing looks like it's going to be putting Academy Awards on his mantle. But I'd be disappointed. I would be curious to see his outside of the box thinking and what he would do with another movie. Learning lessons that he learned from The Last Jedi. Hopefully learning some lessons about some of the areas that he struggled with in the Last Jedi. But you know, I would like to see what he would do next. But at the same time, if I'm Disney, I don't bring him back. Because it's just going to be too much of a distraction. It's much like the same reason for another sports analogy. Look, Tim Tebow's a decent little quarterback, but a lot of teams did not want to sign him because of the distraction of it all. The circus that would come along with what would happen to your team if you signed Tim Tebow, right? It just, too many teams want to stay away from that. And I just kind of feel like, it's not a direct apples to apples comparisons, but I believe the spirit of it is the same. If I'm the studio, I don't see there being much upside to bringing him back in. And it's not good for him. For him, it's not a good move. Why come back and take all this abuse and all that kind of stuff when you can go make your original films and get Oscar consideration and get fans at all these festivals losing their minds and get critics losing their minds and get, why not do that? Why not do that? So I don't know. So that's my thoughts on here, guys. He is not going to be directing another Star Wars movie. I can't say that as fact. I have not gotten any information from people inside Lucasfilm regarding that. I'm just saying, when you look at the landscape and you look at everything out there, and in particular, when you look at this statement now, I believe it's becoming clear that they are simply holding off on the official announcement that he's not doing it until after Star Wars Episode 9 has done its theatrical run. Because they want the attention right now to be a Star Wars Episode 9, but I believe within about 6 months after that movie launches, we'll get the official word that Rian Johnson has scheduling conflicts. and that he's going to go on and make other probably Oscar-winning material. So is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Is that a loss for Star Wars? Is that a win for Star Wars? Everybody's going to have an opinion about that, and that's fine. I just think that all the signs are pointing to him not doing another film. Right or wrong, fair or unfair, good or bad. That's what I think we're heading towards. Question is for you guys. What do you think is going to happen here with Rian Johnson? Do you think he is actually going to end up directing another Star Wars film? Do you think, like me, that nope, all the signs are pointing to the fact that he's not? How do you see it? How do you think this is going to work out? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys.